entrepreneurship it's a long journey. It's probably going to span decades. And so I think it's really important to have fun and surround yourself with good people. People who you want to you want to talk to every day for the rest of your life, because that could very well be the case. But yeah, have fun.
Yeah.
I think we often forget that, to have fun and also prioritize relaxation.
Welcome everyone again to another episode of F5 Collective presents Women in Business. Today we have the wonderful Jade Diep, co-founder of Dr. Glitter, an incredible, wonderful food supplement. And I'm excited to talk more about that and her whole journey to that. But let's get right into it, and we'll share all about Dr. Glitter and how much fun it is and how it is making health and wellness even more accessible by how it's presented. And Jade, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh yeah, it's such a pleasure. So let's start with it. Tell us a little bit about your background, because you have a fascinating background. You were in Chinese film and all that kind of, so
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so born and raised in Australia. I studied finance and marketing, but I didn't want to be a management consultant, so of course. So my grad job kindly let me defer, and I went traveling through Latin America, and after that I was like, I want to work in the film industry. And so I ended up going to Beijing, where there was more of a commercial industry, and I became an entrepreneur from there.
So how did you, it's interesting because I come a little bit from an entertainment background. Yeah. How did you get into the film industry, and what were you doing in it?
Good question. So I guess since I was probably a teenager, I was interested in the film industry. I had friends, families working in film, quite a creative person. So I wanted to do that, but there isn't much of a commercial industry in Australia. Only a few companies that I could work for, and I was like, my chances of really doing that much meaningful at it from a young age would probably be quite limited. So I did a subject called Asian cinema at uni, breadth subject because I had a commerce degree, but my professor said, why don't you not waste your gap year and on just traveling, and why don't you go to Beijing? The Chinese film industry's picking up. He used to live there, so he introduced me to a friend. I slept on a couch for a week, and she set me up with 2 internships, and it went from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then in that first month, the Chinese film industry exploded. The first movie made $1 billion RMB. I was working in the company that did its visual effects, and so I think it's an interesting point that you mentioned, how did I get started? Because it's hard for a young person, and because I was in this emerging industry, I got to do a lot right from the get-go.
Wow. Yeah. That's so. This is interesting because you went from this into entrepreneurship, and what was your first venture into entrepreneurship? Because I'm guessing Dr. Glitter wasn't your first, but what was your first?
Yeah. So I was working in this visual effects company, doing film development for them, and they really liked me. They wanted to sponsor me to be a full-time employee, but because I didn't have 2 years of relevant work experience, they couldn't sponsor me. It'd be illegal, and we couldn't really fake it because I was just 22.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so the only way for me to stay was to start my own company. Yeah, so I just started to research and buy books about venture and entrepreneurship, and I spent 6 months figuring out how to start a business, what business should I start, and went from there. It was just to stay in China.
Oh my God. So what kind of business did you actually
Oh, sorry. I started a product placement company, so to put foreign brands into Chinese TV shows and movies. Yeah, so that was the first venture.
Okay, so this is really cool because there's a very interesting correlation. Yes. Right? Product placement. And so then what then led you to this incredible world of from there to health tech and all of that?
Yep. So, also by accident, living in China, my co-founder Augusta, she has a science background, but she studied, so she became an actress in China.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to just decorate our food and drinks with gold sugar and gold pepper. Everyone loved it. We were like, oh, why can't we have more colors and why can't it be healthy? So we started making our own edible glitter, and we all started thinking, why, like, almost all of our friends in China all of a sudden started taking a handful of pills per day, supplements. We were like, but they don't know how to cook or eat a well-balanced diet of whole foods. Why don't we kill two birds with one stone and create a brand and a product that encourages people to eat more whole foods and allows them to further boost their diets with the specific supplements that their body still needs, and also make their food more pretty. So it just started off as us trying to make something that we wanted ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't realize that it would be really hard, and it's a technology that we've built. We just were treating it like arts and crafts, yeah, in the kitchen.
Oh, whoa. Okay, so
Yeah.
then now you've got, so it's ActivCrystal, right?
Yeah, ActivCrystal technology.
Okay, so how did you go from let's make it pretty to actually hunkering down and saying, okay, now we're going to get into the technology of it and really focus on that?
Yeah. So initially we started making it in the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
and we very quickly realized it's quite easy to make homemade edible glitter out of healthy ingredients. But to do it at scale would be the huge challenge. So initially we were using a convection oven, and we could do a small amount in 4 hours. So we're like, that's not going to work. So we then spoke to the CSIRO in Australia. So they're the like the federal science body in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and we asked them, can we do this at scale? And they said, yeah, we think so. You probably want to use this kind of machinery. It won't be available at a contract manufacturer, but yeah, that's what we think you should do, and go along. So we looked around for contract manufacturers, and they were right. Nobody could do it for us. So we had to build our own machines, and yeah, it took us a long time to find the manufacturers, design the machines, convince them that it would be possible. We then got the machines, and I thought it'd be easy from there, but it took 2 years of weekly manufacturing trials, 20 kilos a week, until we actually nailed the formulations. And now it's a lot easier for
Mm-hmm.
us to do new products. But yeah, it's interesting.
How did you keep yourself going during that time?
Good question. We both had other things, like Augusta's an actress,
Mm-hmm.
and I generally was an entrepreneur. So in that deep R&D phase, I guess we were doing other things as
Mm-hmm.
well. But I think it was fun. Like, we liked being creative.
Mm-hmm.
We were just making supplements look like glitter. Um, and it's been fun to create the brand as well.
Mm-hmm.
So concurrently we created the Dr. Glitter brand, and our mission is to empower happy, healthy living. And we worked with a great agency in New York to design what it looks like and what it stands for, and it's been really fun. So somehow, yeah, we just did it.
Now you've patented
Yeah.
this, right? What was that process like, going through and especially coming from the background that you had and then moving now into this whole other space of health tech, technology on this kind of scale, and then patenting your
Yeah.
product?
I guess the patenting world it's very far from where we started our careers,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's quite a siloed world for most people. We've been very fortunate to have had mentors who have guided us through that, because you need to be very careful about what you disclose beforehand, in order to be able to patent something. And you also need to really think through your failed experiments, because that is what proves that this is truly novel and you've created something
Right.
actually new and different. So, yeah, we've been really lucky to have great mentors, and we work with a great patent attorney called Gus, who works for a big firm called Minter Ellison in Australia, and they've really looked after us.
How were you able to, because I think this will be really helpful for people to understand, as you were looking for that support, what were some of the key characteristics, I guess, of those people that were supporting you and helping you and even maybe funding you? What were kind of the things that you were looking for? Because it is such a unique product,
Yeah.
and it is creating this accessibility to health and wellness that I love your whole vision of making it fun and engaging and that you want to be part of it. What were the kind of those characteristics that you were looking for?
I think the mentors who have really gone above and beyond have, they themselves, independent to what we are doing,
Mm-hmm.
have dedicated a part of their life to supporting entrepreneurs.
Mm.
So our, I think, most generous mentors thus far we've met them through the Melbourne Accelerator program at the University of Melbourne. So these people have done some incredible things in their careers themselves. A lot of them are also, maybe not that they're not entrepreneurs. They are operators, great in their field, but they want to help innovation, and innovation that comes from younger people. So they volunteer their time through the University of Melbourne. And I think that kindness is really great, because I think the best mentor relationships often come over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't really work if after a short period of time they're like, oh, I've done enough and I want to profit off this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works really well when there's a longer term, just genuine commitment, and I guess they're paying it forward.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like we look for people who also have time, because not everyone can afford to do that. And
Yeah.
I think it's really good to look at people's personal situations as well. And yeah, we've been really, really fortunate.
Wow. Now I know that you have a really wonderful point of view as far as from an entrepreneurial standpoint of don't get caught up in people pleasing. So speak a little bit about that, and because you're a very gracious human being, and so but being gracious and being people pleasing are two different things. So I'm curious how you go about that and what you really mean by that.
I think as a young female entrepreneur in particular, in certain cultures, you often have people telling you what to do or trying to tell you what to do. And what I've learned over the years is that it's really easy opinions are cheap. And at the end of the day, nobody knows your business like you as the founder do, because not only do you know how it works and the opportunities, but you know the problems. And that's often something that you're not, shouting about. And they are quite possibly like they don't know the problems. And so I think I think I've just learnt to also recognize that the people who try to tell you what to do, their advice probably isn't going to be the best, because they probably don't have the wisdom to inform them that just how complicated things can be.
Yeah. 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 That makes a lot of sense. I think another thing that's so intriguing with all of that is how what you've done with Dr. Glitter is truly staying true to, we want to really make it pretty and make it engaging and really, really delightful. So you were mentioning a little bit before we even got on camera how Dr. Glitter really kind of works in its diversity and how it can, so speak a little bit about how you've taken Dr. Glitter and made it so it can become all these different things?
Sure. So I guess ActivCrystal technology, we transform supplements into brightly colored crystals that can be sprinkled onto meals without changing the taste, texture, or aroma of your food. And it's a delivery system, so you can put different active ingredients in it, whether they are dietary supplements for humans, we're looking at pet as well,
Very cool.
or longer term medicine. So instead of having gummies that are full of flavors, sugar, sweeteners, additives, and also hydration powders, because obviously these alternative formats, easy to consume formats, they've really picked up.
Yeah.
And that's because of pill fatigue. We recognize that people don't want to take tablets unless they're truly sick. Well, a lot of people don't. Some people are okay with it, but I certainly don't.
Yeah.
And so these fun formats have come up, and it's interesting that whilst we could have made our meal sprinkles just brown granules, we have actually made them fun, and we've taken the principles of why gummies have worked, which is because they're fun, and we've applied it to ourselves here. However, we've done that with just 4 real food ingredients. It is there's no sweeteners or flavors, so we're really, really clean. But yeah, that's what we do, and it's a system. So we see that anything in gummy form, we want to turn into crystals, and that's how we'll make the world a better place. It will be, we think the world will be a lot healthier if instead of some people take a handful of gummies per day thinking that they're doing this for their health, when actually, according to the WHO, even non-sugar sweeteners increase your risk of having diabetes or heart disease. And so it's like, maybe you're adding more zinc into your body, but what's the point when you become diabetic?
Yeah. Well, what's so great also about this is our brains will tell us so often that if there are colors to it, then there's a flavor that's attributed to the color.
Yeah.
And especially bright colors, because it's got to be sweet, it's got to be this. And what a great way to be able to engage and even get parents more involved and included in it by not having it.
Yeah.
Right. So you're not adding anything like that to it. That's really cool. Now, this is so interesting because what you're doing is really moving health like you're saying, in a very accessible way. So what are some of the other things that you're hoping to accomplish with Dr. Glitter, like maybe other products or so forth?
Sure. So we have launched with red iron crystals under the Dr. Glitter brand, and orange probiotic crystals. We're working on a multi as well. We're thinking that this could be an all ages multi, so that you're at the dinner table, breakfast table, and kids and parents, everyone can be putting their added nutrients onto their eggs or whatever they're eating. And we, in our early R&D process, we also encapsulated fucoidin, which is a seaweed extract. It's got a lot of it's got a lot of incredible health benefits for longevity. People who are undergoing chemotherapy also take it, and there's benefits there. There's a long history of consuming it in Japan. However, because seaweed is so pungent, it's almost always taken in the form of capsules. So, but that's for older people and for people who are going through chemotherapy, that could be really difficult.
Yeah.
And so we thought maybe we should make this into a sprinkle. And it's really interesting because I think that's actually the coolest product so far, because the raw powder form, the smell and the taste is really strong. When you add water to it, it becomes even stronger. But turned into our product and then dehydrated through our process, it's actually tasteless and odorless. So that's super cool. Like we can, and it's same with iron. Iron is super bitter.
Yeah.
But through our process, You don't get the metallic taste. You don't get the bitterness. It is actually tasteless on your food. You can put it onto a salad, pasta, an Indian curry. It could be on a soup. It can be on anything. It's cuisine agnostic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there anything that was, because this is such a, I know that you were talking about the two of you kind of sitting around and talking about it, but was there anything else in your life that really kept you pushing forward with this? Like any specific kind of instance that made you say, this just happened and I think it could benefit from this?
I think also the pain point of iron deficiency. So many women experience this. 25% of the global population experience low iron.
Right.
And so that's like more than 2 billion people. And it's predominantly women and kids. We certainly both have had quite extreme experiences. Augusta's had whole bags of blood put into her. I've fainted multiple times, passed out bang on the ground. So, and most of my friends in Australia struggle with iron still. And so I think but however, iron supplements traditionally are in tablets and in gummies, and they almost all give you stomach cramps, constipation, and nausea. So we also wanted to create something that wouldn't give us those effects, so that actually works, and then we can avoid having iron infusions, because we also know that they are a quick fix. If you have the infusion, so it's injected into your bloodstream, your iron levels go up, but in 3 months later they go down again. And so it's this roller coaster effect, and I think that's been a huge motivation. That's why we're really committed to iron being the first SKU, because it's shown in our metrics as well. Once people find it, they it's like the only long-term solution that is sustainable. You remember to take it regularly. You want to take it. Doesn't cause side effects. So I think that's been a huge motivation. We wanted something for ourselves.
Yeah, yeah, and it brings up that point of something that you can personally put yourself behind, right? That you can stand for. Then that resonates because there's a genuineness to it.
Yeah.
And that brings up the good point about consumer, understanding your consumer. What have you discovered about the folks out there that are showing an interest in it, and how they're using it or thinking of using it, or even asking you about more kinds of products?
We get customers contacting us and saying like, oh, it's actually really cool on pizza, and it's cool on this and that. And we find that, so I think people who have never tried the product think that this is for kids. And we're like, no. The customers, the repeat customers, they are women. They're adult women. We guess, because we can't know their exact backgrounds, but we guess from the age of early 20s to into their 40s. And so, that's been quite interesting that even though we've launched under the Dr. Glitter fun, very Gen Z brand, this format is suitable for all ages, and people, there's a lot of women who aren't Gen Z but want to decorate their food with edible glitter. Like, why not? Particularly if it adds iron.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, but and also that whole idea of the accessibility, right? I mean, taking health and wellness and putting it, kind of turning it on its head.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't feel so scary, or it doesn't feel so sterile.
Yeah.
That's an incredible branding choice. And so I'm curious if your background in entertainment helped with building that knowledge of how to brand it. And
I think so.
Yeah.
I think increasingly, in hindsight, I'm like, oh, I see why people without our backgrounds may not have thought about that and done that.
Right.
Like, obviously, this is the perfect product for product placement. It's, I guess, one of the things that one of the first stories that I'd heard of in China that made me think of product placement was there's an Australian breakfast cereal called Wheat Bix.
Yep.
And that went viral in China because an actress was on a TV drama and she pulls out some Wheat Bix and puts some milk on top of it, and she's eating it. Chinese people who are used to eating hot breakfast were like, what is this? And then she's explaining the health benefits. But that, like, being visually different in a very normal setting is key to product placement. And so I think we've obviously created that.
Yeah.
But also just knowing that, like, the Dr. Glitter brand name, that choice has also been, it gets attention.
Mm-hmm.
People, even if people don't know, have never tried or don't know what it is, a lot of people, you remember the name.
Yeah.
And so many random people here in the US have come up to me and been like, oh, like, I've heard of Dr. Glitter because my cousin sent this to me because she saw it in this. And, like, I guess it stimulates word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, we knew how important it is to leverage upon virality, social media, because yes, you can pay for advertising and whatever marketing, but if you just have something that's really aesthetic and it's a great story, people will share it, and that's free.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about how much you use social media to really push the brand out there, or to really create brand awareness.
Yeah.
And so does Dr. Glitter have its own Instagram? And
Yeah.
Okay.
So we launched pilot phase from Australia,
Mm-hmm.
and online it just straight away went viral. And over in the US it got the most attention.
Wow.
So from our first Instagram video, which is just me holding the box and explaining what the product is, we've had 6 US retailers reach out. 5 are major grocery and fashion retailers. So, yeah, social media is pretty cool. Media is pretty cool.
Yeah, media is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, this sells globally. Is that correct? Or does it just sell in Australia right now?
Right now, it is available online in Australia.
Okay.
But we have had it in Urban Outfitter stores in the US as well.
Okay. What is your plan to scale this? Like, how are you coming at that?
So we are planning to be focused on the US.
Mm-hmm.
And we are currently redoing packaging so that it actually is a bit clearer on pack about how you actually use the product. Because right now, obviously the packaging, it gets attention, but people could think it's a beauty product.
Right.
So we're changing that up, and we've learnt a lot about our communications, our messaging, that actually gets the repeat purchase. So we're finalising that, and we'll be relaunching in the US. Initially online, because this is a subscription product, but also through retailers, natural grocer. So
Okay.
that's a huge channel here in the US, and so that will be likely a key retail channel for us.
This is really, really cool. So what is next? I mean, I know that's a key retailer, and you're going to be setting up shop here in the U.S. What is your vision for Dr. Glitter? What do you hope for it ultimately, and where you can see it kind of growing and going?
So our vision is for people to eat more whole foods and then further boost their diets with the specific nutrients their body needs. And that is why our content is almost always on very healthy food. So we also want to promote that whole food diet and how it can be delicious and beautiful as well. The US is in a really interesting point in history right now. There's a huge push towards whole food diets. And so timing's great here, and there's a lot of awareness about the need for change here right now. But ultimately, we hope this vision can be very global and And China's a big market, of course, but it's also a market that we know intimately and we care about a lot. And the levels of obesity and diabetes there have skyrocketed as well. And so, we hope to create a lot of cultural change, but also we recognise that whole food diets are not enough. Due to overfarming and poor soil quality, the nutrient content of whole foods has now declined substantially. And so we do need dietary supplements. So we hope to be able to empower people to have that whole food diet that is actually complete.
Right, right. Well, how has it been navigating the health tech space as someone who really, I'm assuming you probably never thought in a million years, I'm going to be doing health tech someday.
No. Mentors, so really kind mentors and consultants, and I think because we've been very agile in that way, as opposed to building out in-house capabilities with this expertise. We've worked with consultants all over the world, and so it's kept us agile. We've been able to gain knowledge and expertise from different markets, so we have an understanding of how to commercialize a new dietary supplement in Australia compared to the US, compared to China. But yeah, it's been challenging, and we're still learning. We've been we're now having big companies in the food and pharmaceutical company reach us, and so also learning about what are their interests in and what do they want as a business. So I think for me, attending conferences has been really helpful. It's been a great way to just casually meet people and learn and build those networks. I'm a big believer that how your network perceives you that's currency. So it is how many people do you know, but it's also how they perceive you. So I think it's just really good to get out there, meet new people, but also continue to maintain those relationships and leverage upon that to learn, particularly with a very complex project like this, because it does require engineering and regulatory understanding and supply chain. You need to understand what are the new active ingredients on the market, and also marketing and media. So just leverage upon our networks.
Yeah, it seems like because of the experience that you've had, with product placement and understanding how to navigate that world, it is helpful as you move into this and even look at different ways that Dr. Glitter can grow and maybe even move into other products.
Yeah.
And do you have any, I know that there are other supplements and other things beyond iron, but are there other types of products that you're also considering for Dr. Glitter?
Oh, interesting. For the Dr. Glitter brand, I guess our focus is we can't do everything. So our focus is to build out the platform technology for crystals, ActivCrystal. But for Dr. Glitter, if we had the time and resources, we'd just love to make this a brand about happy, healthy living.
Yeah.
And so we really want to promote cooking and for young people to cook more. And so wouldn't it be great to have a cookware range?
Right.
Or there's so many different things, but we say that for Dr. Glitter, our pillars are science, art, and play. So, and we think play is really, really important. There's so many things we could create.
So what was the process of coming to this? How many iterations did you kind of...
So 2 years of manufacturing trials weekly.
Whoa.
20 kilos a week. So they're serious commercial trials.
Right.
That's like 100 trials. And before that, there were years of more in the lab benchtop trials as well. And now we still do different trials, but it's a much smaller number that we have to do to nail a formulation now. But yeah, this has taken years. We were in pure R&D for 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about taste, And what about the texture?
So, good question. It is textureless when it becomes in contact with the moisture in your food and drink. So it turns into a gel because the main ingredient in our product is acacia fiber, acacia gum.
Okay.
So it's a tree sap. So, we all know what tree sap looks like. It's like crystals, glassy, and we basically turn that into tiny crystals. And because they're small, when you sprinkle it onto anything with moisture, so don't do a dry biscuit or bread,
Right.
but any meal, it actually turns into a gel. So, yeah, textureless. You won't feel it. You won't taste it. You won't smell it.
It seems like what it would probably do with that kind of contact is that it then kind of just becomes part of whatever that is.
Yes.
Right? Just absorbs or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, it doesn't, it's still, I guess it doesn't fully dissolve. It's still, you can still see it as, I guess, gelatinous blobs or sprinkles across your food, and you can mix it in.
Right.
But that's also really important because it's not like it overwhelms your food. It still has the structure. You just can't feel it.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Things that we came up with by accident.
How? Okay, so you came up with it by accident. So what was the accident? What happened when you looked at it and said, "Oh, look"?
Well, we actually didn't know that textureless was that important. But I guess edible glitter is textureless, and we were just trying to replicate edible glitter. And so now, with the industry people coming up to us and asking us and talking to us, we're like, oh, we see why that was a major innovation and really critical point, but we really were just creating something that we would like to use ourselves.
Right.
And all these multi-billion-dollar companies were not able to do it.
Happy accident.
Yeah.
Love it. Is there anything else that you'd want to share?
I think I was thinking about this question earlier, and I think one of the final notes I'd like to put out there is, I guess for the young entrepreneurs out there, entrepreneurship it's a long journey. It's probably going to span decades. And so I think it's really important to have fun and surround yourself with good people. People who you want to you want to talk to every day for the rest of your life, because that could very well be the case. But yeah, have fun.
Yeah.
I think we often forget that, to have fun and also prioritize relaxation.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk about this. We talk about the fact that the entrepreneurial journey is lonely.
Yeah.
And I would assume even as your partners in it, you feel like you're two people alone on an island sometimes.
Yeah.
So, knowing that and finding that passion and remembering that you started it from that passion and having fun with it. And breathe.
We have Augusta made a picture. It's we have a photo of us. We were at I think it's like a Halloween party, dress-up party. We're dressed up as children with little sippy cups. And so she turned that into like a digital artwork. And she wrote "Forever Fun" on there. So it's something that I have on my desk, and it's something to remember.
Yeah. Well, the brand itself is fun.
Yeah.
And it does make you want to pick it up and engage with it. So good on you, man. I mean, really, truly. Okay, so are you ready to do a Biz Fit Minute for us?
Yes.
Ooh, goody. I love it.
So my hot tip for early stage entrepreneurship is a film theory called Slate that I have created, which is, I think it's wise to actually have a slate of projects when you're at the early stage, like a slate of movies, because these projects take a long time to develop and you don't know which one's actually going to work. So rather than focusing all your time and energy into one project or business or one movie that could flop and then 5 years later you've ended up with nothing, I think it is good to actually have your fingers in a few different pies at the early stage, because you never know, like, when one works, it'll proceed ahead, and then you've done all these things and you've developed your resources. So your capital, whether it's financial or social or I guess experiential capital, your personal networks, and so yeah, like go for that when it's ready, and then later on your other project might pick up as well. So I think I call it Slate, building your slate of projects, and only focus when things are ready.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And as somebody who has a little bit of experience with entertainment, that is so true. I remember there was something, somebody had come to me, and it was an actor, and he was starting his own production company. And he wanted to meet with me, and he asked me, because I used to do feature film development, and he was really freaking out because there was so much pressure on him with the studio for, they were backing him, and he didn't know what to do. And I sat him down and I said, okay, hey, listen, think of it like this. Come up with a few projects, but just remember this. You don't have to know everything about the film industry, but you need to know everything about the projects that you're pitching. So just learn everything about those, but don't go in with just one.
Yeah.
Go in with a few, because you're going to be so behind that one that it can't succeed the way you envision it. It's just impossible. So that whole idea of the slate, that's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's incredibly helpful. Thank you, Jade. I love that. Okay, so we're going to do a rapid fire now.
Sure.
You ready? Okay. What did you want to be when you grew up?
An architect.
You want to be an architect?
Yeah.
Did you ever like...
I did work experience in 10th grade at an architecture firm, and it was cool what I did because I got to build things and do stuff, but I also realized that everyone else was really stressed and it actually looked pretty boring. So after that work experience, I was like, I'm not going to be an architect. Yeah.
We had somebody else say that, and they said, and then there was all this math involved, and he was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. What always makes you smile?
Right now, looking at my baby niece. So she's really cute, and yeah, it's nice seeing her grow.
How old is she?
She's just over 3 months.
Oh my gosh, that is a baby.
Yeah.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you know now as an adult that you wish you knew as a kid?
I wish I knew just how long life is. Like, there's no rush. I think you'll never get the journey back, so it's really important to enjoy the journey, because the milestones will come, but yeah, if you rush it, you just lost that journey. Yeah. To enjoy. So just slow down a little bit.
Yeah. And what is your guilty pleasure?
We discussed this earlier, but I love a sour gummy worm.
Yeah, that sour stuff is yummy, doesn't it? Isn't it? It's just, even thinking about it, it's just like, okay, yum, yum, yum. Oh, I like, okay. And cat or dog?
Dog.
Okay. Do you have a dog right now?
No, okay. But I look after friends' dogs frequently. So, but yeah, I'm allergic to cats, so dog.
Okay. Yeah. Probably, yeah, that kind of takes care of that. Perfect. Jade, thank you so much.
Thank you
for
so
joining us today. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm so excited because I'm going to steal that and
I'm
start
excited
using
to hear
it.
what you think.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so great. Thank you. And what I want to do is I want to follow up with you later on and see how things are going, and we can catch up.
Sounds good.
So I think that would be lovely. And for all of you out there, thank you again for joining us for another episode of F5 Collective Presents Women in Business. Please check out more about Jade and Dr. Glitter. We have a link in our description below, and you can find out all that information and follow her journey and see where it's going. But until then, and until next time, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.